Hi, this is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where today we are discussing Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, written by Napoleon Hill and W. Clement Stone. Sorry, saw the C. W. Clement Stone. The copy I have is from 1969. The book was written in 1960. And at the time, it was an updated version, if you will, a new set of eyes on the success principles that Napoleon Hill put forth in the 20s, Law of Success. You're more familiar with Think and Grow Rich, which is like the Cliff Notes version of Law of Success. So where are we today? For those who would like a PDF, those in live stream, there is a link in the live stream. I honestly don't know what page on that PDF we are on. I can tell you that we are at the beginning of chapter 11, titled, Is There a Shortcut to Riches? I'll also tell you that today's meeting, being Wednesday, will be cut short about 10 minutes, and that's because I have a professional networking meeting that I host every Wednesday. You all are invited to join us. Anybody watching the replay, go to networklivevirtually.com and register for the join link for professional networking. This is the only time I'll cut the discussion short. All right, so let's get started, shall we? Again, this is the beginning of chapter 11. Is there a shortcut to riches? And I like this title because it gives us an answer. How many people say, hey, I just want to press a button and be rich? Yeah, well, that's the rub the lamp kind of wish, isn't it? Well, let's make sure we all start off on the right foot. A shortcut, in this instance, is defined as a way of accomplishing something more directly and quickly than by ordinary procedure. It is a route more direct than that ordinarily taken. So in this instance, I'm okay with the term shortcut. And that's because the person who knows the shortcut and takes it knows his destination, knows the route that's more direct. With a caveat, he will never arrive at his destination unless he starts and continues toward it, regardless of the interruptions he encounters or the obstacles he meets. All right. So if you think about this, we have a shortcut. What is the shortcut? The shortcut is simply a more direct path to our destination being our end goal. It is only a shortcut if we stay on the path. It is only a shortcut if we don't deviate with distractions or allow obstacles to stop us. In chapter 2 of this book, we covered 17 principles of success. They are positive mental attitude, definiteness of purpose, going the extra mile, accurate thinking, self-discipline, the mastermind, applied faith, a pleasing personality, personal initiative, enthusiasm, controlled attention, teamwork, learning from defeat, creative vision, budgeting time and money, maintaining sound physical and mental health, using cosmic habit force. Now, why did I just repeat those 17 success principles? Because I and the authors want to show you the shortcut to riches. We really do. There is a shortcut. And exactly, Catherine, it's those 17 principles. That's the shortcut. The most direct route to success you have to have. You must have. It is imperative that you think with positive mental attitude. And honestly, a positive mental attitude is the result of the application of these success principles I just listed. So who are you? You being me, you sitting with me this morning, the product of your heredity, environment, physical body, conscious, subconscious mind, experience, particular position, direction in time and space, and something more. And the awesome part is including powers known and unknown. When you think with positive mental attitude, you can affect, use, control, or harmonize with all of them. All of them. All of them being what I just listed as the product of you. All of your experiences, all of your knowledge, all of your network, all of your environment, all of your who you are right now in time and space, the cosmic forces, and that something more that is within you. But you have to use positive mental attitude. And the kick is only you can think for you. Therefore, the shortcut to riches for you can be expressed in a 6-word statement. Think with positive mental attitude and grow rich. And the final thought, we'll open for discussion. Remember, positive mental attitude. You can do it if you believe you can. All right, I'd like to open the room for discussion then. See what you have to say about that. And Cindy is sharing that chapter 11 of the PDF that we've shared with everybody begins on page 191 of that PDF. And good morning to my Christian friend, my other Christian friend, my other friend named Christian. So, positive mental attitude is the precursor to all of the success principles. It must be applied in order for them to get us to our end goal. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning. So I don't know why.
Good evening in your area.
I just got weirdly or oddly nervous, and I guess it's because, I'm about to share a story. But, it gets that self-consciousness makes you nervous, and I'm putting it out there. But I think, so a few years ago when I was in the military, maybe like over 7-8 years, my husband and I, we were driving to my first duty station. And I was going to New Mexico. So we're all familiar. New Mexico is very barren. It's that desert, landscape. And we took a shortcut. You're supposed to stay on the highway, right? We took a shortcut. Mind you, we know we're going to the base. We know we have to be there at a certain time. And that's our goal. And they always say stay on the main road. But we're like, you know what? This looks like a really cool shortcut. And so we ventured off onto the shortcut, and we ended up in this. You lived in New Mexico. Christian lived in New Mexico, but not really Mexico.
It's not really new.
Not really new, right? Yeah, never take a shortcut in New Mexico, ever, okay? Here's the point, right? It's funny, right? Because it's true. We turned off, and I don't know where we ended up, but it's like in this town, a very small town. There are clearly people who live there, but you don't see the people. You just don't see them outside, but their cars and, satellites and whatnot. And you get to the first gas station, and then you see life emerge. And and then you end up, it was like near midnight, and in New Mexico, the altitude and the weather had changed. And so we decided to stay overnight. But this motel that we stayed at, it was the scariest thing in the world. Oh,
dear. This sounds like a horror novel.
No, but nothing happened. I don't know if it was negative because I can't even remember. We ran into the hotel room. The person who was the attendant or whatnot, he was so monotone. So there was literally no sense of surety that it was going to be safe. And we get into the room, it's shag carpet, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So we put the chair on the door, and we stay overnight. So 5 o'clock in the morning, we run out of there, and we eventually get to the duty station. But I swear I wanted to turn around. I did not want to stay there overnight. Yeah, I'm too traumatized to remember where it was, but but the point is, I mean, yes, it's a shortcut. We took the shortcut we shouldn't have, obviously, but those little incidents where we should have been deterred. It wasn't clearly as safe as we thought, but without that goal in mind, that end goal, that end result, we would never have just continued going straight forward. We would turn around and been late, but you need a goal,
What a terrific example, because that's exactly what we need to be talking about and get our minds set on, which is that even if we come across an obstacle, even if the shortcut seems to be like the worst decision ever, we do know we're going to end up where we need to be. Instead of taking the experience of, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done this, and hightailing it back home, or changing your mind, or saying, well, it's not worth the effort to go through this obstacle or this side trail or this adventure to the end goal. You had the end goal was, your definite purpose was important enough, and it was important enough to you that you were gonna do it, regardless of the experience you were having at the time, because it was temporary.
But it doesn't change the fact that going through it, it's still a difficult path. Like the journey.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there are still moments when you're like, I don't know if this is the best decision ever, but having that definite major purpose, in mind makes you say, okay, I can just take that step, one more step further and one more step further. And I think that's a shortcut, because without being definite, most people turn around. That's it. So,
well, even if you had turned around, I mean, think about it for a second. Even if you had turned around, you would have still been placed back on the highway and would have ended up at your destination.
That's true. That's true.
What I'm saying is that you would have, so there's two ways to look at this, isn't there? Neither one is good. Neither one is bad. This is what I'm hearing, though, out of the story. What I can take away from it is, number one, you had a definite end goal in mind it was going to be reached. It really didn't matter if it was going to take a day or 3 days. It was going to happen. So while on the highway, decided to take a different route, thinking it was a shortcut, meaning it was going to shorten the drive to the destination. And upon entering a zombie town, you could have turned around then. And it would have simply been a lesson learned, just a quicker lesson learned that, this isn't the shortcut we had hoped for. Let's go back to the highway and just take the direct path that we know works. Or, well, we're here, so let's see what is here and explore a little bit and experience a little bit. Although I know that wasn't the thinking at the time. What I'm getting from this is
I think it was more the ego that we made this decision, so we're going to stick to this path, which is also another good point sometimes. The ego forces us to move towards places that are a lot more difficult than it has to be.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. No, I didn't see that part. All right. So that part then takes us to the ability to take a step back and do a spot check, isn't it? Following your intuition, trusting your senses over that ego. It's difficult to do. It's difficult to do when you're with somebody else, isn't it?
Even just with yourself, so that the lack of awareness of what the decisions you're making and how you have the power to change that, how you have the power to change, even like you wake up in the morning and your mood is bad, the lack of awareness of who you are, just being with yourself. So that shift that you can stop and change how you feel, where you're going.
And that's fully possible with all of us with these principles.
Yeah.
It is, because what I say is, for me, what I do is, if I'm in a moment of any type of anxiety, whether it's because my ego is battling, like what you just described, or I really do have fear, I'm doing something new, or I'm just not certain of the path that I've chosen for this particular project, for this particular collaboration, whatever it may be. Or I've come across that obstacle. Is this too hard? Is this too much? Is to take a breath and take a step back and seek guidance. And that's Sometimes I get it through a quick prayer. Sometimes it's taking a step back, take a breath, and reach out to my inner circle, my very close network of trusted friends to say, I need to check this. Need to check this. But it does, as I'm saying it, I'm realizing it, what you had said about the ego can get in our way of even doing that much, can it?
It can. It can stop us. Like, for example, here, let's read the comments. It says, yes, it was, it went up.
Somebody added something.
Sorry, let's see. So, yes, it was follow the directions to stay in the highway and you will get where you want to go. Taking a shortcut will often get you lost. Sometimes in life, if you take a shortcut, you will miss important experiences or information that you need to know to be able to overcome an obstacle. That's a great point. And it's a great point. And
reread it. Excellent. Reread it.
Yeah. So it was follow the directions of staying on the highway and you will get where you want to go. Taking a shortcut often will get you lost. Sometimes in life, you take a shortcut, you will miss important experiences or information that you need to know to be able to overcome an obstacle later. It's a great point.
So that's a shortcut without understanding why you're taking the shortcut.
Yeah.
That's a shortcut to avoid doing some of the work. Not cool. Not cool. Okay? Because that's not going to get me where I want to go.
So you're just trying, so it's sort of like deflection. We're trying to do that snake in the road type of thing.
Yeah.
Just avoid the hard things. Right? You want to read Catherine?
Well, that one was from Cindy, right? Yeah.
Oh, no.
That was Cindy, and now we have Catherine. I've been studying on wisdom and how we need to meditate on and pursue wisdom. Oh, how interesting. I discovered that wisdom is being clever and devising ways of making things. Too often we think of wisdom as book knowledge, but it's about having the skill and shrewdness to make things. And if I'm willing to allow my mind to wander free of constraints, then I get into a position to have the wisdom to live bold in my success. Well, how interesting is that?
I love that.
I've always viewed wisdom as having been after an experience. I've gained the wisdom from putting it to use. I have the knowledge and then I put it to use. I have a bit of understanding and now I have the wisdom based on that.
I kind of looked at wisdom differently. I think wisdom, like Catherine said, is like sort of intuition and internal. Like if you read my profile, it says cerebral intuition. So wisdom has always been like the core of what I study in spirituality. And I think that wisdom comes with awareness. So we all have this like core wisdom inside us, like this intuitiveness. And by embracing or becoming aware of what we are in terms of having the wisdom of self and that intuition, trusting, because a lot of us, which is apart from, which has a lot to do with the ego, a lot of times we don't trust ourselves. We don't acknowledge that, and having that wisdom, that core wisdom, allows you to be aware and allows you to stop and recognize, okay, is this me or is this my ego? And we can't really be separate from our ego, but is it the result of what, our ego is playing on us, like, that negative aspect, or is it a result of the core we are? Because when we're aware of our core, then we stop and we can be less judgmental of ourselves, So.
Good stuff. So Matt is saying differing mindsets can really challenge us too.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love for you to expand on that, Matt. Differing mindsets. What are you meaning by differing mindsets? See, because Catherine's saying unless you're with the person that has the same mindset, and we happen to be fortunate, we're all kind of in the same mindset here. You have to overcome their mindset to stay on path with yours. So there's a challenge.
Well, okay, so I don't know, and I'm not going to bring religion into this, as I know everyone's probably different denominations and some.
No, you can. No, in this room you can. Feel free. If it's your faith, it's your faith.
Well, I mean, I've always read in the Bible that it says being unequally yoked is a challenge, you know, like, because, and I don't think it comes with every aspect of life. So that could be married with different religions or from a different, you know, cultural background and from a different race. And I have a lot of experience with that because my husband is, he is African-American and he also has a different religion. So that clashing, it takes a lot of work, but it takes a lot of self-trust, because in order to recognize someone's truth, you have to be able to recognize your own truth and not be afraid that you're going to be swayed or persuaded or lose yourself, you know, because of this influence that's beside you. So we have to, again, that awareness and that trust of ourselves. Yeah.
So Matt, does that go in line with what you were saying about differing mindsets can really challenge us too? Because we also have one simple, okay, so yeah, says Matt, I was thinking about the differing mindset of people on shortcuts and trusting other people's perspective. The trust lies on the side of the teller and the listener.
I love that.
So it takes two to have trust. Not only as Andrea, am I pronouncing your name correctly, Andrea or Andrea?
It's Andrea, but it really honestly doesn't matter.
How about I go with the third option? Andrea, sorry.
I've only become cognizant of that since I've been doing this.
Yeah, Andrea. All right, so the idea then is that as you were saying, through these principles, I'm learning to trust myself. Through the application of these principles, through the use of positive mindset, through the use of positive mental attitude, faith, relying on others, everything is self-discipline. I'm building trust in myself through my own activities. And then Matt points out that then there's trust from me as the teller, sharer of who I am and my life, as you were describing. The trust of the listener. Now, I think that goes well with what you were describing about what's happening with your husband and other scenarios that you had brought up about if I am of a different enough mindset that is based on something very different than what you base yours on, that level of trust must be there on both sides for us to be able to not only just tolerate each other for the beginning, but then to learn from each other.
You have to, so, I mean, I'm not saying you have to, but that's just a go-to phrase. I'm saying, like, that trust that Matt was talking about, it's a very difficult thing to arrive at because when most of the time when we talk to people and we give our opinions or insight, if they clash, it can be seen as a judgment, or it can be seen as, you know, some sort of negative output, or, you know, like it's a sort of like this assault against yourself, you know. But when you trust that if a person has this clashing attitude, right, they're just different, and different is good. But if you trust that their disparity between you and that person is not a result of your relationship, but a result of who they are, then you can be open, you know.
Well, you can be, but all the while, what you had said, which is Catherine is kind of backing up by saying to maintain a positive mindset when surrounded by negative influences, she has to invest in purposeful actions and activities to feed the positive.
That's true. Yeah.
Which strengthens us. Because you had said earlier, which caught my attention, that because I trust myself, because I am doing my daily actions to improve who I am, to get to know myself better, to be better than I was yesterday, last week, the week before, I am strengthening who I am at my core. I know my beliefs and my value system, so it's easier for me to trust myself when I am with you, because the clashes come when one side doesn't have that trust within themselves.
Yeah.
So that's why I have no problem somebody coming in here and just expressing that this is my religious belief and this is what my values are based on, had atheists and Muslims and Christians come and had a Jew come in here and just simply express that it's foundational to their viewpoint, which I think is great. That's who you are. It's me who has to determine, and that's what these principles teach me, is that my ego doesn't have to be bruised or challenged. My beliefs aren't challenged because you're expressing who you are. By living these principles, we're able to have that backbone, that strength, that pillar that we lean on that says, I am who I am, and you are perfectly okay being who you are, and I'm just going to enjoy who you are. And if I don't agree with some of the beliefs that you're putting out, okay, just don't start yelling and screaming, or I'm going to kick you out of the room.
Don't become a blab troll.
Yeah. Oh, should I show her no, I'm not going to show her the troll. That'll completely divert us. Okay. I have a troll. I'll show you a troll later. Okay. So that just general thoughts, just are terrific. Then Catherine is saying, when I have the right mindset, the positive and possibility mindset, then I can walk through the shortcuts because I know where I'm going and what it will take to get there. That's pretty much what we were talking about with the shortcut to riches. You know, we have the term of the riches in there because the book actually is all about how to make yourself better so that you can make more money.
Yeah.
Right?
What was the emphasis? Think positive, think with a positive mental attitude and grow rich.
That's right. Now, that is one term. The other term that's deeper, of course, in this book is the riches of knowledge, of personal knowledge, the riches of faith, the riches of, and the wealth that comes from relationship building, and all of that happens with the principles. So in essence, the wealth, when it comes to money and finances, is a byproduct of the personal development we're going through. That's my take on it, and I like it. So
now I'm sticking to it.
I'm sticking to it. Yeah, that one I'm not deviating from.
Let's see, having a routine that builds our positive attitude will give us what we are confronted by. Someone with a negative attitude who tries to cast their doubts upon us.
Yes. And that's the value of having the routine. That's the value of what I've gotten out of everybody joining me here for almost a year every weekday morning, is strengthening my own resolve, adding to what I believe. I've changed, I've changed greatly actually, because when I first started this, I was in survival mode, and everything I was doing wasn't working. Everything I had done before that worked to be in thrive mode was not working to get me out of survival mode. It just wasn't. And this did it. So I was able to get back on the track and get back to the routine. The routine hadn't really changed. It's just now it has a positive effect, whereas before it had no effect. I was just going through the motions before.
Would you say you've gained more insight on yourself? Like you now become more aware?
Of course. And because this is a part of the morning routine for me, personally, it allows me to be more focused on that self-awareness in the morning. Amazing things have happened since I've done this. And had you and others share the stories that they're sharing, your views, your takeaways on what we're talking about each morning. Just amazing things have happened with my business and with my own spirit. I've grown tremendously. Just getting past the survival mode, I'm back on growing mode and thrive, and it's been fantastic. So that's why I keep showing up. And I'm so glad you guys are showing up. So good.
Catherine says, yes, the more you feed the positive, the more you can negate the negative.
And that's the whole point. It's like a shield.
Yeah.
It's like a shield. That I'm Wonder Woman now. You can ping your negative all you want, and I'm just gonna
it's a happy bubble.
And then Catherine has her happy bubble. Well, she does rainbow and lollipops too. So
okay.
on her path to world domination.
That's nice. Rainbows, lollipops, and unicorns would be great. Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah.
So, shortcut to riches. I think there is one.
Oh, I lost it. Am I still here? Oh, wow. Okay. And she was just getting to the good stuff, so maybe she's going to refresh. I'm not sure. Okay. I think she froze. She froze on my end as well. Yeah, she's coming back. You know what? This happened a lot last night on Blab. People just sporadically were kicked out and then just come back in. So why are you talking? It's a tech thing. She was yeah, I don't know if it's internet issues, because I saw the same thing happen on other Blabs earlier today. So it just seemed like a lot of people were just kicked out. And then we've had to refresh several times this morning. I've not had to in quite some time. Yeah, so a few hours ago, I noticed that was happening a lot, and it wasn't just one person; they were just like a bunch kicked out. So, yeah, seems normal on Blab, right? A lollipop, a rainbow lollipop. So Charlene's trying now. Let's see. One thing I always do to stay positive is to try to keep a smile on my face. It's the obvious way to go, right? We just have to keep the positive attitude, and it's a wonderful. Yeah, you know, despite everything that's going on in Blab, I still think that it's a wonderful place to be. I mean, I've been an advocate since it started. So, hi, Charlene.
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, just hang tight. You know,
yeah.
I cycle through. It's my internet connection. It's not Blab this time. It's my internet.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
it just went out.
Okay.
Completely. Just went out. All right. So we're talking about positive attitude. We're talking about positive mental attitude. We're talking about looking at things differently because of these success principles and the shortcut, which is the most direct route to your destination. So what we were talking about then earlier, maybe you thought was a shortcut, but in actuality was a detour.
It could have been a detour. I would say, I have no idea at this point, but I think it could have been a detour. Right now,
Turned
it's
out
just
to
a really
be a detour. Yeah. It's a great story. It
right
could have been all right, so it's not a shortcut, but a better and faster path to the destination. In this context, what we're talking about, yes, Catherine, is the book and the principles are telling us that the shortest, most direct route to our end goal, that's the shortcut. Because if we live these principles, if we have a plan that we actually work, we're doing it with these principles. I mean, we have the principle of the mastermind. That's where we bring in other people, right? To keep us focused and to keep us on task. We have the principle of budgeting our monies and good handling of our finances, of leaders. This is all about leadership and being better. And if we're doing that and we apply that positive mental attitude with it, that's the most direct route to our end goal. The reason I brought up the detour is because Andrea and her husband knew. They knew that the highway was the direct route to, there were no stops on the highway. Highway was a direct route to the end goal. And they made the decision that there might be something better without knowing what that involved, that it might be something better. So it really wasn't a shortcut as much as it was a detour. And what I'm getting from that is, and I take detours all the time now, especially on road trips, because that's kind of the whole point of a road trip is to see what's out there. But I find myself at times being detoured from my goal, the path that I'm on. The goal is still there. As you said, we still had that destination in mind. I still have my destination in mind. I read it every morning. I know what I'm doing with my business and what I'm trying to do with my heart, to expand my heart and my spirit. And I get detoured, and that's the obstacle and distraction I was talking about. And sometimes I do it on purpose because it's a bright, shiny object and it looks so pretty darn awesome. And sometimes it really did look like it was going to be a part of my path. And so it's not a complete derailment of getting off track, but it is side road.
Sidestepping.
Christian made it. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Angel.
Good morning, Andrea. Good morning, Angel.
How are you?
I am, I'm doing better now. My coffee, which was originally about here,
You are
ended
doing
up being
better.
about here because it exploded all over me and all over my counter. And I went to go shake it, and that was fun. And then it's about 100 degrees in my house, which just makes me incredibly uncomfortable. So I came out here to the garage. It's a little bit cooler, kind of. At least there's circulation.
So what do you think?
I know the heat really well. So.
I'm in southern Indiana with great air conditioning. I'm a happy gal.
It's fantastic.
All right. So what do you think of all this, Christian?
What do I think of all of this? All of this. There were like 5 or 6 things that I thought of in the middle of all of that. By the time I got over to the keyboard and I was starting to type it in, like, don't let me forget about. And I was like, what was that again?
There you go.
So I think it's fantastic. I think there are shortcuts. I think that there are detours. I think there are a lot of different things that you can do, but everything has to be in the right context. Everything has to be for the right reason. You can't take a shortcut for the sake of, shirking your responsibilities. You can't take a shortcut for the sake of making making life easier is fine. It's
avoiding the work.
Yeah, it's avoiding the work. You're decreasing the value on all sides. And that's really, well, I mean, what was there was something that I posted. It was a fantastic quote that I posted on Twitter probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. Something about, it was the bitterness of low quality remains long after the sweetness of low price has gone away.
Nice.
So that's pretty much
and it applies to our activity.
Yeah,
but it applies to our activity as well, as you said.
Sure.
That there is a shortcut if it's a direct path to your destination. And what we're saying here is that it's these principles is the direct path. It takes work. Shortcut does not mean no work. Shortcut does not mean avoiding responsibility, as you said, avoiding learning along the way.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at all the successful people that Napoleon Hill interviewed that we can see today, the overnight successes that only took 10 years, know what I mean? Right? All the work that was involved, they knew their destination, they were focused, they did the work that was needed to be done, they lived their lives, the ones that I want to be like, live their lives in a way that it's very attractive to me. And those are the ones that day after day after day stay on the path. And their shortcut was, to us, it looks like it took 10 years. They reached their success point after a few years. And you look at somebody else who's struggling to get there and trying to take shortcuts, detours, do the easy route, right? They're the ones that 20 years later are still wondering why nothing's working for them. Or they're the ones that every 90 days are changing the direction because it didn't work fast enough. Or, go ahead.
Here's an interesting thought, is that discipline is difficult. So the beginning, the deciding to do it, and the end of getting there, that's all easy, I guess, in the big picture. But the in between requires a lot of discipline for everyone. Very, hence the derailment.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right. Excellent point. Excellent point. All right. So what kind of takeaways? Because I do have to shut this down in about 7 minutes. So those in the live stream with me, Christian and Andrea, and those in the chat area, what kind of takeaways can we take for today to think on and to make us better?
So for me, it would be increasing my awareness of self. So being able to reflect on that.
Keeping an open mind in your focus. I know that sounds a little weird because it's sort of both sides, right?
Yeah, that's a little ambiguous there.
Yeah.
Well, just a little, especially when we have Angel over here.
You want to keep your focus. You want to keep your focus, but you don't want to be linear.
Okay.
Because if you're linear, then you miss everything that goes on around you. Have a clear, defined goal. Have an endpoint that you want to get to, but don't be afraid to look around and see what else is happening around you. Because I was talking to this kid Jonathan on Anchor a couple weeks back, and he was talking about problem solving. He was talking about reverse engineering the problem, and one of the things that I mentioned to him, just sort of tossed into the conversation, was that when you're solving a problem, even if you know the solution, even if you know exactly how to get that problem solved, keep an open mind while you're getting to that solution. Look at what the other options are, just for the sake of knowing something new. Because the human brain does this crazy, crazy thing with variables. And we'll connect dots and put pieces together that we didn't even know exist unless we have that information, those variables, that data, those things that we've experienced, that rather than looking forward only, you kind of spread out a little bit. Look at it as you go.
See, we have Angel saying, develop your whys. They need to be very clear. Okay. And Catherine is saying, be focused and prepared in your pursuit of success, but be flexible in the action you will need to take, which kind of goes in line with what Christian was saying. What I heard from you, Christian, is that don't put blinders on, because even if you know your destination and know the answer, be aware that there are opportunities and different ways to approach and be aware of them, so that should you come across this again, there might be a better way. Okay. Failure is not an action, but a mindset. Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
I think one thing that Christian reminded me of is one of my favorite quotes is, you don't know what's on your radar or what's off your radar, you know? So I think that, like you're saying, the mind works in different ways. So not knowing what's off your radar, if we're closed and we don't see those things or allow those things in, then sometimes we're stopping that thing from happening, or that better route, you know what I mean?
Right. All right. Any other takeaways before I sign off? Because I have to. Why? Because there's a professional networking meeting that I am hosting. Let me get the link for anybody who's interested while somebody's thinking about what takeaway they'd like to share.
Oh wait, this isn't open?
What is an open?
This is an open. I didn't finish the last word. Meeting.
This morning's meeting always is for anybody who jumps in. and wants to view or what have you. No, I'm talking about I have every Wednesday I host a. Are you familiar with BNI for professional networking locally?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Well, Angel, yeah, it's like BNI Light. It's for professionals who want to connect with other professionals around the world and network. It's a formal structure. About an hour, it's free. So those who have a business and represent a business and connect professionally, join us at 9 o'clock Wednesday mornings. And there's the join link. All right, cool. So and then we have BNI meetings can meet just like labs at any particular time or hour. All right, so takeaways for me today is that if I stay focused on my end goal and I continue on the path that I am, which is practice these principles each morning throughout the day, focus on something for the day to be aware of, that self-awareness that Andrea was talking about, I will reach my end goal more quickly than if I don't do these things and just flounder. That's my takeaway. All right. So I'm going to do the official closeout, and then I'll stay for a minute or so. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. Thank you for joining me in the live stream, Andrea and Christian. Thank you for those.
Glad we talked into it.
Me too. Thank you for joining us in the chat area. Your participation is always welcomed as it helps us to get our mindset for the day. Thank you for those watching the replay. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouKnow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.